All right. All right, Riverside, here we are. Here we
All
are.
right, so you
It's
can't put the
recording.
questions
No,
there.
you can't do anything.
Yo, this is driving me crazy. Yo, this is getting me mad. All right. Hey guys, it's Stephanie.
It's laundry.
This is Table for Four, a family conversation podcast. How are you today? We're going live today. We're gonna be talking about Roe versus Wade. I know this is a subject that's gonna be beat on the head. Um, what happens is so many things that have been going on in the news and so many stories that we wanted to talk about, and let's just take it from there because this is an open conversation. We're just gonna be talking and seeing what's going out there, and that's about it because this has been going on for a little bit, and I know we've been taking a break with summer. There's a lot of things going on, and we just decided, you know what? Why not we just go live for the summer and just have a discussion and take it from there. The kids are quiet; they're over there doing homework and playing on the computer. So, we wanted to take an opportunity just to have a discussion, talk about Roe versus Wade. So, just an introduction. We want to welcome you to the live sessions for the podcast. We're going to be talking about different stories, different topics that are highlighted in the stories and in social media and things like that. So we just wanted to talk about that and everything else in between. So I just want to start out with our main topic for today would be Roe versus Wade. As you know, on June 24th, the Supreme Court of the United States has overturned Roe versus Wade, the landmark 1973 decision, which was able to legalize abortions in the USA. So as of right now, that decision was giving the opportunity to guarantee women to have that fundamental right to choose whether or not to have an abortion. So with this particular ruling, it ensured that states could not interfere or otherwise implement banning any of those abortion laws
Right.
at that time. So this means that with this overturn, that the states now have the decision making when it comes to the
Right.
abortion
They have the
laws.
final say in
So
whether their state will allow or ban
right
abortions.
at that point. So now what we have is the trigger laws. So the trigger laws are where certain states have now allowed or made that decision where they will no
So,
longer allow abortion in their
Mhm.
facility. So let's say some of the trigger states that I've read about, we're talking about Arkansas, Missouri, Wisconsin, and I believe South Dakota. But there is a longer list that I will post for you later on that have implemented shortly right after June 24th. So I know some of them are being implemented on July 7th, some are being implemented in the following week. So with these trigger laws, states, they are in, I guess not in control, but are in the, I think in the process of now saying whether or not that these states will now determine whether or not you can have an abortion or not. So as of right now, with half of all the states are with everything that's been going on, including the pandemic, this is just another, complicated
Yeah.
scoop of
Another layer.
crap now that we have to deal with. But this affects many in the medical field. Pregnant women especially are affected by this ban, and with no exceptions being made on certain cases and things like that. This is the reason why I want to bring up a couple of discussion points. So the discussion point number one, we want to talk about surveillance. I know if you want to talk about the surveillance article that you sent me, that I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It says now license plate readers could soon be used against those seeking abortions. And this was an Instagram post that I saw. So it seems like if you're going to be traveling to another state and the camera catches you, I guess they have a right to fine you if you're traveling to another state to get an abortion.
What does that mean?
That means Big Brother's watching.
When is Big Brother not watching you?
Big Brother's watching.
So can you explain a little bit like license plate readers? Now,
Okay, for example, we have Easy Pass here in New York. If you don't have Easy Pass, we now pretty much, I think 99, almost 90% of New York, all the bridges and tolls are cashless now. So that means if you don't have Easy Pass, there's a camera there, and you'll get a bill in the mail. So I guess I'm assuming if you find yourself traveling to another state to get an abortion, then they have cameras everywhere. So now I guess it's going to be
whatever your address is, really. You know,
so if they really want to dig deep and find you, then yeah.
I'm just checking something on TikTok.
Yeah.
No worries.
So if they want to find you, if they want,
they gonna find your way.
Yeah. If they want to like take the laws into their hand and find you.
All right. So now you
make sure you're. I don't know. It's just a weird. You know, I think when cameras went up, I don't think it was to be used for this. Just to look for people going across state lines to go do something wrong.
Wait. Go back. Rewind. So when you place these license plate readers, right?
Well, we have readers already.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But what is the purpose of them?
The purpose is to
catch people that are running red lights.
Red lights, fines, to people don't pay tolls.
Right. What else? What is the purpose?
Camera tickets.
Camera tickets,
lights,
like if you're speeding.
Accidents.
They see. That is the purpose for that. Not the purpose for someone to go ahead and go use your license plate to locate you, whether or not you're crossing state lines for an abortion. How do they know that you're in the car sitting, that you're going to an abortion clinic? How they know that? Who knows that? That makes no sense. So when sometimes we see these posts on Instagram, on social media, CNN, things of that matter, you got to take a step back. And I'm like, how did they even come up with this individual idea? Like, looking at the Instagram post, let me look at it again, because I was over here, like, when he sent me that article, I was like, who, what, where, why, when? Right,
but now that question's privacy. You know, how is our privacy violated?
What do you mean?
No, yes. When you're in a public space, you're voluntarily, you know, your rights are already, they tell you you're being monitored, so you have no rights. So everything is public, so we could use that footage however we please.
What do you mean?
In terms of like at a public space.
Okay, so if you're in the street,
so there is no privacy.
There is no. That's what I'm saying. It's public. It's public domain. Public domain. That's what it is. But my question is that, okay? So according to the Instagram post, it was done by Wired. Wired, has a pretty big following. And what they wrote was, since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe Vs. Wade last month, America's extensive surveillance state could soon be turning against those seeking for abortion. So many of the Republican lawmakers in the state have outlawed abortions and are discussing the possibility of preventing people
from leaving states,
from traveling across state line. So but my question is, how would they be able to know at what point, what is the purpose of them going? Like, let's say we're coming.
Well, you got to remember, a lot of employers are adding that to the insurance policies now as a medical exemption for you to. They're willing to pay for you to travel to another state.
That's some. I don't know.
Like some companies, not all companies, most companies, some companies.
But so let's
now if your company is in a state that it's banned, abortions are banned, you know, you have the right to go to another place to get it done as per your insurance. But now you have to go. But now you have to go to and insurances. I mean, companies are paying travel fees to go to another state.
Wait a minute. I can't even get unemployment. Like, how you just gonna give people money to go across state lines to go get an abortion when I can't even get unemployment? Like, all right, whatever. What I'm saying is that it makes a point that now they're using technology against us, as they've always used, and it's something that somebody put on TikTok.
Jesse,
period tracker apps can potentially be used to track pregnancy termination. What?
Damn.
What? I have the period track. See, I didn't even read that. Hold on.
So now if you log it in, that's it.
I've been logging in. I do it for my own personal.
No, I mean,
medical
let's say you do have an abortion. Do you have to log it into your app?
You don't have to log anything into your app. What he's saying is there's a particular app.
Yeah, that tracks.
I have a period
termination.
tracker. No,
That's what it said.
no, that's not what he's saying. There's an app. You know, like ovulation apps and period trackers. Yeah. Right. So they're using that particular information to track. Yo, that's crazy. See, technology is amazing, but it's being used.
See? I read that right.
Against us. Now, I was trying to figure out, like, what is the purpose of that? Let's say you don't log in that you had an abortion on, the 14th of July. Like, you don't log it in.
Log it in as you're ovulating. That's it. Fool the system.
I don't understand that. I just don't get that. What I'm saying is that they're using the technology for the wrong purposes. So if you're using it just to find, people that have red light speeding tickets, things like that, yeah. But now you're using that information in order to find out whether or not somebody's going to be tracking across state lines to go get procedures. What if they're visiting family? What if there was a death in the family, God forbid, that you had to go across state lines, to say, listen, I'm going from, Texas into California or whatever, however the purposes is. How is it that you're going to be held responsible or have any consequences from traveling from one state to another? Your business going from one state and another should have nothing to do with the fact if you have to go for a different purpose other than abortion. That to me just makes no effing sense. I don't know if I could curse on Facebook or we could bleep it out. I don't know, but it makes no sense to me. Like it's very frustrating. Like this whole situation is very frustrating. But that's moving on to my second point. There was another very interesting article that was very, very, very sad that in South Dakota, a governor has agreed to defend the abortion law. So the premise of the story, I really saw it on CNN with CNN correspondent Dana Bash. Now, there was a discussion where when it comes to abortions, that there are certain cases that are applicable to the necessity of abortion. So in this particular case, there was a 10-year-old young female that was abused by her uncle. Now, she was about 34. She was about, let me just double check.
10-year-old.
It was a 10-year-old child, and she was about 10 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
10 weeks pregnant. So again, we don't want to get into the discussion of when is life, pro-life, pro-choice, because however you want to have that discussion, this particular video outlet for CNN, the correspondent just asked a very straightforward question. Do you think that it's okay for a 10-year-old to continue with this pregnancy? Her response was yes. Her response was yes. So my question to you is that how is it that we cannot give these grievances or give allowances for certain circumstances? Like for me personally, I don't know anybody who's ever had an abortion. I personally don't know. That is your decision making. I have no say in that. But what I'm saying is for this particular case, for this 10-year-old who was abused, unfortunately abused by her uncle, that led to the pregnancy, she doesn't want to continue with the pregnancy. So she really just she straight up asked him, it's like, so you think it's okay for her to go follow through with this pregnancy at 10 years old? And she was like, yes, because we are pro-life and we understand that the circumstances are unusual. I said, no, it's not unusual, because this is something that's been happening, and this is something that's not completely new. This is not a new subject. This is not something new that happened all of a sudden. Like this is like the first case of this ever happening. You ever heard of incest? Yeah, it exists. So the point that this newscaster, the corresponder, made it very clear. It's like, do you hear what you're saying? You do not give this 10-year-old the opportunity to abort the abortion because the baby's fetus is important, because every life is precious. But at what point do you give them the grievances? So at what point, this 10-year-old, how do you even fathom what the mom is going through, what the family is going through. So it goes even further, where she traveled from Ohio to Indiana to go ahead and have the actual procedure done. So now with this camera BS,
she could be liable.
She could be liable for traveling from one state to another in order to perform something that she wanted for herself.
Well, not for herself. The parents.
I mean, the parents. Yeah. I mean, you're 10 years old.
10 years old. You know, you can't even. You're number one. That's rape. 2, that's incest. It's
I don't know.
America.
That got me mad. The America.
Home of the brave.
Home of the brave, land of the free. I don't know. It's very difficult to kind of have that discussion when you are 10 years old. You're talking about such a serious topic, and it's just like, how is it that we're trying to understand the lengths of this discussion? So, I mean, if you had a daughter, right, and your daughter was abused by somebody,
I'd be in jail right now.
Oh, why would you be in jail?
I'll be killing that motherfucker now for even putting his hands on my daughter.
It'd be done.
That's it.
Be over. But that applies to both gender. I don't want to say that this is what it is, but at this point, we're really focusing on the 10-year-old story, which was super, super sad to hear about this story. So again, at what point do we say that we have to understand the medical necessity, or even the lengths of these laws that take into effect? But I was super frustrated about this story, and I'm definitely going to post a little bit more about this. But I just wanted to bring up a point about how she was very she did feel bad, in a sense that she felt bad that she didn't really want to even have that discussion. I'm like, but
so she was uncomfortable?
She was uncomfortable with it. Yeah.
The governor?
Yeah, she was uncomfortable. She said,
she said laws are laws, right?
Yeah. So she said this, no, quote unquote, reading from here. Way to
win my vote.
It says that this tragedy is horrific. She says, I can't even imagine. And I've never had anybody in my family has gone through anything like that, which God forbid, we don't want that to happen. Right. But in South Dakota, the law today states that abortions are illegal except to save the life of the mother. So again, if it is a medical emergency, or God forbid there was an incident, an accident, anything to that extent, that would be some of the allowances that would happen at that point. So it's just like, I don't know. Again, it's interesting, the time that we live in now, that we now have to worry about crossing state lines in order to get medical attention and medical needs done for an individual who might have not chosen for themselves, in this particular case for the 10-year-old, but again, it's, along with South Dakota, it's one of the trigger states that have implemented that, abortion is illegal. But I don't know. I was super upset about this story, and I don't know. We just have to think back and think about the 10-year-old.
It's barbaric. These old,
it's like
barbaric rules.
I don't know.
What my boy Andrew Schultz said, visceral.
Visceral. Stupid. But again, if we leave it up to each of the states individually in order to make those decisions for us, how do they even take into consideration some of these cases like this?
Right.
So how do you respond to that? How do you go around and say, well, this is the law, this is what it is, it's out of our hands? I don't know. What would you do? My question to you is, if your child was unfortunate to be in this type of situation, would you drive across state borders and state lines in order to get the
but now, okay, now let's flip the script. What if the parents
what are you flipping
what if the parents are pro-life? Like, you're gonna have this baby now, you're 10 years old, and now you're gonna have this baby.
I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I don't care what you say, you got yourself in this mess now at 10 years old. Now we're having this baby. and you're either putting up for adoption. So now you're gonna have to deal with through 9 months of pregnancy.
I didn't even think about that.
Now you're 10 years old going through the stages of pregnancy.
I was being selfish. I was just really I didn't even think about that in terms of devil's advocate.
That's messed up.
So okay, all right. So let's have that discussion then. All right. So if you're telling me that the young girl now has to go continue with the pregnancy, she has to go where? Where does she have to go? She has to go to a hospital. She has to go to a clinic, right? Mm-hmm. To go get medical attention. Now, all of a sudden, now the nurses, I'm going to be a future nurse. I'm going to be in pediatrics or wherever I'm going to be. I'm going to look at this 10-year-old's history and I'm like, how is this girl 10 years old and she's 25 weeks pregnant? Now, I'm looking at my chart and I'm like, how did this even happen in the first place? Now, as a nurse, I have to keep, medical confidentiality. We cannot displurge any information, but you're going to look at it and you're going to question yourself. It's like, how did this happen in the first place? So then the mother's going to be standing there. Well, yeah, she had an incident or whatever, and she's going to follow through with the pregnancy. Is that you really think that?
I'm pretty sure there's some people out there that
at 10 years old
would think that.
At 10 years old.
Listen. We live in a weird country. We live in
America.
We live in America. Listen, there's the people out there. If you bleed, you breathe.
If you bleed, you breathe. I don't understand that connotation. I understand. Explain to me. Explícame because yo no entiendo.
you know the term. Like when a girl has a period, that's a coming of age. That means she's already old enough to reproduce. If you bleed, you can breathe. Some people have that mentality.
I don't know you anymore.
It's disgusting.
I don't know you anymore.
What do you mean?
I don't know this individual. You're making my eye twitch right now because I'm like this is like if you bleed, you breed.
We're having a discussion here.
Yo, this is crazy. Like okay, but I need to hear your stance on if you were the mom and you told your 10-year-old to say, well, you got yourself in this mess. You need to continue with this pregnancy. Like I want to hear that. I'm not with that because again, that's my opinion. But I want to hear your stance on it because you're the one who brought up the question.
My stance is that's messed up. I don't agree with it. Especially as a parent, who in their right mind would at 10 years old would just say, "Oh, you're gonna have this baby and that's it."
What if it was consensual?
At 10 years old?
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. We don't like a lot of the ideas that are out there, but what if it was consensual? I mean, the individual was obviously older and misled this young lady to a path or whatever the case may be. What if it was consensual on both sides? What if it was? What would you say then? Oh no, mommy, he had my permission. I love him. And we did, you know what I'm saying? We're living in a different age. Like back in the Western civilization time, we're talking about people were pregnant 12, 13 years old. But remember, the lifespan was different. Like people was dying at 40. You know what I'm saying? They didn't live to be, the average 70, age today, 80. 70, 80, 90 today. Because of, medical advances and vaccines and cleanliness and sterilization and making sure, we're up to date. Yeah. But what I'm saying is it's like at 10 years old, what if she said to you that it was consensual?
I'll kill her.
Oh my God!
Like you're dead to me. DED, dead.
Oh my!
You're dead.
Oh my God! I can't.
It's a hard topic to talk about.
It's not a hard topic.
It's cringeworthy.
We're talking about it. We are talking about it. This is why we're here. We're having this discussion because we want to talk about these headlines that sometimes I make your eyes go cross it like this. Because it's just like sometimes it's just like I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to peel away at this onion to truly understand like what is it that we're trying to get at this point. What it just makes my eyes roll. I mean, just big old eye roll or give you the side eye. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of these topics is just like that gets me really upset. But
moving forward,
something that I thought was a little funny. Andres, you showed me this article, right? The I know this one. This one was the one with the 34-week-old woman that was pulled over for using the HOV lane.
Yes.
Did you show me that one?
I sent that to you.
You sent that to me. Okay, so here's the setup. Here's the premise. Here we go. So in Texas, there was a 34-week-old pregnant lady that was using the HOV lane. Now, apparently, she got pulled over, and the deputies or the cops who pulled her over asked, "Oh, why were you on the HOV lane?" She's like, "Well, I'm using the HOV lane because, my other person is here."
No, she's like, why are you using the HOV lane? You're only one person.
Right.
And she's like, well, there's two of us here. And he's like, officer's like, where? And she's like, in my belly.
In my belly.
In my belly. In my belly.
In my belly.
In my belly.
So I went a little bit deeper, and I was looking at the different penal codes because, that's what I do. So with this particular article, it sent us the link to the different Texas penal codes. So according to the Texas Penal Code number 26, defines an individual as a human being who is alive, which includes an unborn child at any stage of gestation. So technically,
it's a being.
It is a human being that is taking up space, that is a human and is alive.
Better stop paying rent.
But the transportation code for Texas does not recognize the Texas Penal Code. So I'm very confused.
So the traffic violations don't count.
So the traffic violation counts against the penal code. So which one's higher, the penal code or the transportation code? I don't know. So according to the transportation code, that the individual has to occupy a seat, and it has to be outside of the womb.
He's in the seat. He's in the lap. He's occupying the lap. My man's driving the car. He got a bird's eye view of everything right now.
No, but what I'm saying is that the cop must have been for a loop. Like, if I was the cop, I'd have been like, well done. Like, congratulations.
Well, if that wasn't the case, then he gave her a ticket anyway.
But she still got a $215 ticket, though.
Did it get dismissed or no?
I don't know. That they're in the midst of it now, because what happens is the woman made a fantastic point. Is like, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't say that my is not an individual when it comes to one code, and then you turn around and say that it isn't an individual, and then give me the freaking ticket. Like, you can't have it both ways. That's what I'm saying. Like, she made such a point. I was like, yo, that lady dropped the mic. She was like, boom, drop the mic.
She needs to be a lawyer.
She probably is. Who knows?
If I'm the judge, and if I see her come in and plead a case, I would have smiled, dismissed, well done. Well done. She's like, I understood the assignment.
But again, it makes a great point. It's like, if you have these two different codes of Texas, right? So if one code doesn't recognize another, how do you come into an agreement at that point?
Right.
Right. So when we're talking about Roe versus Wade, we're trying to understand, when does the fetus become an individual? When does the fetus become alive? Because I think that's always the conversation. So it's just like, you have to pick and choose one. You cannot have your cake and eat it too. No. Like, y'all gotta pick one side. And this woman made such a valid point that I was like,
checkmate.
Yes.
Checkmate.
Check. Check.
But the government's like, no. You owe me $250.
$215
I want my $250.
So that's the thing. It's like, you can't have it both ways. So where do we draw the line when it comes to understanding whether or not your fetus is a person, your fetus is alive, is it not alive, is it not a person, if it's not outside the womb, like, it gets super complicated, especially when it comes to the abortion laws.
This is going to be forever. This is a forever going issue, because nobody could come to the conclusion, is it life?
Okay, but the question is, whose final decision is it?
Well, you're going to have people that claim, oh, well, the Bible says.
But again,
the law says, the Bible says.
Again, they don't
mix.
They don't mix. So don't mind my double chin. What I'm saying is, at what point do we find some sort of compromise in trying to understand the individuality, the aspects, and the understanding of the opinions of individuals that are trying to say, well, I agree that I am pro-life, but I am pro-life to the point where if the mother's life is in danger, that they should be excused or they should be exempt from, any kind of, retaliation in order to, get this type of procedure for abortion. So you have to look at things at each individual case. Like, everybody's so super different. Everybody's super different. So if you're a 21-year-old, you are basically an adult, right? You are able to make your own decisions. You're able to be, if you are sexually active, right? And you are giving and you are fully consenting to the individual that you are with, and this happens, you should be able to have that understanding to say, well, this is my body. I have the right to do what I want to do, which turns into COVID. So there was a great video that Andres showed me. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that, because I thought it was like a great thing that you showed me.
The guy in the video, his name is Peter Boghossian, and what he does all these debates and kind of like these discussions on whether it's on a scale from like one, you're neutral, then you have slightly agree, or strongly disagree, and vice versa the other way,
right.
To strongly disagree. So you have 5 lines, and everybody starts off neutral, and depending on the topic, then everybody runs off to their line to their respective lines. So the whole point of the experiment is, what does it take for you to sway you from one position to the other? So now this particular topic was about abortions and my body, my choice. How is it different from COVID from getting the vaccine?
Right.
My body, my choice.
Right.
So in the video, you have a few people that went to strongly disagree, and then 1 or 2 people went to strongly agree on both the vaccine and abortion. It should be their choice, their body. And other people disagree, and their comments were, the abortion is different than the COVID vaccine because now the COVID vaccine is a community thing. Now is the herd. It's a community thing.
Holla.
Even though the burden of that individual, it's upon themselves, but yet now you have, okay, but now the what is it? Now the counter position is, okay, if you're saying it affects the community, how is it that abortions are individual and not affecting the community, when now you don't know the burden of how that individual is going to be because of this position?
All right, cool. I got 2 for you.
So now what does it take to sway from left to right?
Okay, I got 2 for you. I got 2. All right, so number 1. All right. So you talking about my body, my choice. Oh, when somebody on TikTok, when a panel of elected women come together to make the decision instead of all white men. Isn't that always the case? The case? All right, I got 2 for you. All right, cool. So according to this video, there was a point of my choice, my body, right? So who does the burden fall on when it comes to the vaccines? It falls on an individual, correct? But the burden also lies within the society, right?
Mm-hmm.
I made it very clear, we don't live in a bubble. Like, you need to understand that we live in a society. We do not live in bubbles. So any of the decisions that you do make will affect others. Now, does that apply to abortions? The answer is yes. So a lot of it comes to where there's individuals that say, well, I disagree with abortions because every life is precious. There's no argument with that. There's no argument that life is precious. It starts at the point of conception, but it is a choice. I think. Oh,
politically correct here. You think it starts?
Let me rephrase that.
Yeah, I think that's your opinion.
Sorry. I should have been more clear with that. I'm sorry. My apologies. I think that life starts at the point of conception because it is a point of atoms, all these beautiful things mixing together. Life starts at atoms.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang. You know what I'm saying? It's a big bang, boom,
Starts
boom,
over the bang.
bang, boom, there. You know what I mean? So for me, yes, life is precious, but should I dictate whether or not that burden of decision? Should I dictate whether or not that you have the capacity to make your own decisions? I don't have the right to tell you that you cannot take the vaccine, and I cannot tell you whether or not you can have an abortion. I individually, as an individual, I cannot tell you that because I'm not carrying your burden.
Right.
Right. But as a medical professional, and in my professional opinion, an abortion is not communicable, right? It's not a virus. If you are pregnant, I can't, sneeze on you, cough on you, and make you pregnant. Can't do it. Yeah. If it was that easy, let me tell you.
You need me. You need me.
You know what I'm saying?
Men are the crucial ingredient to the puzzle.
Oh, did the light die? Oh, did I disconnect it? Oh, shit. Did I? My bad. Did it die? Ah, my light died. Hold on. So let me see. I think it's on, right?
No. There you go.
There you go. Sorry. My bad. So the burden of the burden of abortion again lies on the individual. But as a medical professional, if I'm out in the field, right? And the debate goes between vaccines, mask wearing, things like that. We can be on it for all day, but I'm not even going in that direction. The point of it is that if you are an individual, as myself, I'm out in the medical field, wouldn't you want to protect yourself in the most means possible, right? In a sense is that people don't believe in the flu, people don't believe in certain vaccines. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to take vaccines if you don't want to. But at the end of the day, I want to be protected. Because if you refuse to wear a mask and you refuse to be vaccinated, you, again, do not live in a bubble. You live in a society where there are other people that are thriving and walking and living and breathing. You do not live in a bubble.
It's all about herd immunity.
Straight up. You do not live alone. Unless you live out in the mountains, cogiendo frío. If you're in the woods hunting deer that you're not around too many people, then that's completely different. But if you are living in an urban city, the chances of you getting more sick are higher than you are in a rural area. Point blank. I want to be safe when I get home at the end of the day, and I don't want to be sick if there is something that is preventable for that. Now, the question is abortion preventable? Yes. Abstaining from sex. But at the end of the day,
I'm going to get mine.
I'm not going to be the one to tell you whether or not you cannot, have sexual relations with anybody that you choose of your choosing if it's consensual. Yeah. Again, if it's consensual.
At 10.
Going back to that story about the 10-year-old, it's very frustrating. And as parents, I wouldn't know how to react in that situation because I, for one, would be like, oh, this was not consensual. Like, number one, this was not consensual. Okay. Regardless what she thinks it is, like I'm 10. No, it was never consensual to begin with. Okay. Right. My choice, my body extends to when it's in an individual. If you are one person that's carrying one pregnancy, you have the right to do what you need to. But when it comes to the vaccine, if you are that one person, you're going to be surrounded by 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 people walking around because, again, you don't live in a bubble. So if you're going to get my grandmother sick, if you're going to go get my uncle sick because of your refusal, then you should do one or two things. You either wear a mask or you get vaccinated. Again, you can't have both, right? Because if people are not going to understand the opinions and understand that there's mandates and stuff like that, that's fine. If you don't want to do neither, then don't do neither. But then don't pretend that you live by yourself, because you don't live by yourself.
You being in the medical field, you have to go to work without prejudice.
I have to go to work without prejudice. Point blank.
No matter how you feel about
no matter how I feel about it,
or what your position is.
What is my position? Because at the end of the day,
you're there to
help
serve
you.
And protect.
I have to help and serve and give you the medical attention that you need,
despite your
despite my opinion. So if at the end of the day, if I don't agree with abortions and I work at the Planned Parenthood, I made the decision to work at that facility, I have to go ahead and go with the policies and the laws that abide with the facility. If I'm not with it, then why am I working there? Right? At the end of the day, why am I working there?
Right.
But I want to be safe for my family because I want to come home. I don't want to be sick. Let me tell you, I'm sick all the freaking time because I'm working around kids. I'm always getting the flu. I got COVID twice. I always get strep throat. I got the stomach virus because I'm working with these kids, and kids are sick. But I can't help it.
Disease infested.
These
kids.
Little booger nose kids, they touch their face and just everything. But I choose to work in that field because that is where I feel where I can be the most of service. And I enjoy that field. But I don't want individuals to feel like they have to be mandated to take a vaccine just because they want to. Again, my choice, my body should still apply for both the vaccines and for abortion. It should still apply. Should still apply.
So now we're going to another discussion point where the rise of vasectomies have increased. 900%.
My choice, my Here.
This is crazy.
It's because of your fault. There's all these babies around. It's not my fault. It's not like
but now like it's to the point where like should child support begin at conception?
Oh, our final point. Oh boy.
So we got the vasectomies on the rise. I kind of agree with that. If you don't want kids, you don't get it done. You know, because you have two different procedures. You have the irreversible and the reversible.
Right.
You know, there's plenty of parents out there that got the vasectomy done, and boom, it was the reversible procedure where it untied, and now you have babies now. You know.
Sorry, that was so inappropriate.
Coming from a guy who didn't want kids in my 20s, only because I felt like I wasn't financially ready yet to have kids. Mm-hmm. Now that I have them, I hate them.
And we still can't afford them.
They're our burden.
No, I can't.
Yeah, so now the discussion comes up to, should child support begin at conception?
Ooh.
And you said you read an article that
I read an article that stated that that if the Roe Vs Wade reversal comes to and trickles down to all the different understandings of what it, the repercussions from that, this particular article was very interesting. Let me pull that up for you. I'm gonna post it on as well. So apparently, if the way that the article started, it says, if we're thinking of a fetus as an actual person with rights, then a whole bunch of other stuff need to change. So according to the Bucknell Institute of Public Policy, so there was a survey that came out literally right after the overturn on June 24th. And it says that there was a survey that was conducted from June 13th to the 23rd of June, said that 47% of respondents were in favor of child support payments from the time of conception. So I'm like, all right, can you prove paternity at this point? That's my question. Because if it is a question of paternity, because I'm not trying to be, Maury. Right. But my question is, if there is a question of paternity and there is that burden of proof to show whether or not you are the father of this individual person, then at what point do you say that person is responsible for the payments?
Here's the article.
Oh, you found it, right? You got it. You opened it up.
American support extending child support payments to pregnancy.
Yeah. So again, now when we're thinking about pro-choice, pro-life, these are the different types of this is just hmm. I'm assuming through the survey, that it's women are the ones that are
that made
the majority of that survey that are agreeing to yes, they should
quit your job, men. Quit your jobs. Quit your jobs.
So in favor of getting the abortion abortion. I had the word in my mouth. In support of the child support payments, we have to recognize at what point does the payment start when it's out the womb, or do the payments start right at the set of conception? So it's just like it's very hard to kind of like it's hard. It's
a tough topic.
It's not a tough topic. I mean, topic's a topic, you know. It's up for discussion. But what I'm saying is like, if I let's say we didn't end on good terms, right? And I'm about 20, 30 weeks pregnant. So what if things didn't end amicably, right? And I'm 30 weeks or whatever the case may be, and I say to you, you have two choices. I'm going to abort the baby, or two, I'm going to keep the baby, but you have to pay me from weeks 1 to 30.
I got to pay you. Okay, so would it be like $20 a week? What are we talking about?
Is there a table?
The only thing, I'm not feeding that kid right now. He's drinking.
Because I'm feeding your ass.
Yeah, you're on where is it? The pills, the pregnancy pills, so to feed the baby.
Oh, you're talking about like prenatal vitamins?
Yeah, prenatal vitamins.
You're not feeding the baby with the.
Well, you're feeding yourself, but you're taking prenatal vitamins. So I gotta be responsible to feed you now.
What are your thoughts on that? Should child support start at the point of your pregnancy?
No, well, I can't pick up the baby. I can't come visit. Well, I could visit you, but not the baby. The baby's not here yet.
I don't know. It's just like it's so many different things that take it to part with that.
Well, that was just a survey. I guess a lot of women. Who knows? Maybe men voted on it too. On that survey.
What do you think they said?
They said hell no.
Hell no. Hell no. That's what they said.
That's it.
But I just want to take this time to open up to questions if anybody has out there, if anybody has any comments. So let's just wrap up with the 5 different points we talked about, and we'll just ask questions. We're going to post those individual articles, and hopefully you guys can let us know what you thought. So discussion point number 1, we talked about the use of license plate readers from going from one state to another. Now, your question is, how would they be able to know whether or not you're crossing one state to another just to have an abortion? I don't know. I don't know. Discussion point number 2 was the story about the 10-year-old that was about 10 to 12 weeks pregnant, which was a case of a rape case from her uncle. And do you think, or do you understand, excuse me, do you agree with the trigger laws that were implemented in South Dakota stating that she still had to continue with the pregnancy, but she went ahead and traveled from Ohio to Indiana in order to go ahead and have the procedure done? Do you agree with that? That's just something, again, it's such a terrible case that happened. We don't know the full circumstances behind the case, whether or not if the 10-year-old, was it a consensual relationship? Was it just rape? In this circumstance, do you think that she should have continued with the pregnancy as opposed to going ahead to a different state to go ahead and have the abortion? Point number 3 was our funny discussion about a 34-week-old woman that fought the law and said, well, I'm going to be in the HOV lane because I'm 34 weeks pregnant and my baby's right here. So is that individual, is this baby a fetus? Is this baby an individual? Is it a human? According to Texas penal law, it is.
According to the cops,
according to
she's
transportation,
she's an avatar. The baby's driving.
Okay, avatar. And our final thoughts, we're talking about whether or not if child support payments should start at the point of conception. I don't even know.
And the increase on
and the increase
900%, fellas.
900%. So think about that. Think about those individuals, because as a family unit, we always want to talk about things that are affecting families, and this is one of them. This is one of those things. And when I first heard about about the Roe versus Wade, the many things that I thought about, it was just like, wow, they're taking away our choices. They're taking away the capacity or the ability for us to make our own individual decisions. And it said it started back when it was with the COVID vaccine. So it's just like, as a medical individual, I was not happy that I had to take the vaccine, but I had to go ahead and take it anyway because I have to go to work. Same thing with school. School was like, we got to mandate it. So if you want to go back to school, have things go back to normal, you got to go ahead and take the vaccine so you can go ahead and do it.
At work with me is the same thing. Like either get the jab or weekly testing.
Yeah. So if you have those options, and if that's the case, how do we go ahead in America, you know, with these topics? And it's just like, we're going to try to go with you every week. We're going to try to find these stories, try to find what are these individual, these interesting stories that are coming up being highlighted. But, you know, again, this is such a hard topic, but I would love to hear you guys. I'm going to drop those links and drop those articles for you to read and, you know, form your own opinion. But again, this is Stephanie.
This is Andre.
This is Table for Four. We want to thank you for joining us for our live session today. We're going to try to do these live sessions on Wednesdays and reach out to you, talk about these stories. We want you to go back and listen to those past episodes on, you know, we're talking about health. We're talking about culture. We're talking about men's health. We want to
talk about next week. We could do like a camping.
We could talk about
our camping
trips. Could talk about our preparation for camping next week. Also talk about summer school or summer activities, whatever you guys want to talk about. The other thing I wanted to talk about was like the discussion with Ben Shapiro, because I know you said something about transgender.
Okay.
So it's up in the air. You know, it's up in the air. But, you know, we have choices, so it's not a big deal. But we want you to go and listen to those past episodes. You can follow us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio. You can find us on Breaker Radio, Pocket Cast,
Audible.
We're on Stitcher. Where else are we on?
TuneIn.
On Pandora,
TuneIn,
and definitely on YouTube. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be posting some of those videos. I'm going to be posting up those new little radio station stuff that I've been doing lately. I've been taking a break. I've been busy, you know, life gets in the way.
So listen to her on Tuesdays, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
90.3
WHPC. So I'll be there listening and giving you all these fun little stories. And, you know, don't forget, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know. We'll catch you on next week. See if we can figure out what we're going to talk about next week. And thank you guys for tuning in. Have an amazing day. Bye, guys.